Welcome to the Roar Mindset, Leading Through Chaos. I'm Peter Brandberger. For nearly 3 decades, I've led teams and programs through the messy middle, where disruption is constant and control is an illusion. Today, I help leaders embrace chaos to turn disruption into an advantage. On this podcast, you'll hear stories, insights, and strategies to help you stop fighting disruption, lead with clarity, and thrive in uncertain times. In today's episode, I'm joined by Liz Smith, a coach, facilitator, and former startup co-founder who helps purpose-driven leaders navigate complexity with clarity and integrity. Liz brings a grounded, thoughtful approach to leadership that blends strategic insight with deep inner work. Today, we dive into her practice of aligned decision-making, which is a deceptively simple yet powerful way for leaders to reduce burnout, sharpen focus, and stay rooted in what matters most. And you'll even see her in action today as she guides me through an aligned decision. Enjoy. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining the podcast today. How are you doing?
Hey, Peter. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk about a topic that I absolutely love. And I'm doing well. How are you?
That's great. Let's start with a check-in. What matters most with you right now?
Thanks for the question. I think what matters most to me these days is helping people lead from alignment. I work with a lot of high-achieving leaders who carry a lot and are under an immense amount of pressure to perform at a really high level with a limited amount of resources and a high level of complexity. And I've noticed that our world is really asking us to carry an immense amount right now. So I'm focused on helping people come home to themselves, access their inner wisdom, and lead in ways that are more sustainable to them, more honoring to their whole person and what they came here to do, and then ultimately more impactful for the world.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Why is it present for you today?
I was talking to a leader earlier today, and they said, our world is a shitstorm. Which I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this podcast, but...
You know me. Yes, we are.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, but we are living in a time of immense change, a lot of pressure, a lot of uncertainty, and a level of complexity that I don't think humans have really faced before now. And it's more important than ever, in my belief, for us to be really true to who we are and what it is we came here to do.
Yeah. I'm going to have a guest on, Danny, and we're going to be talking about chaos and what the beauty that can emerge from chaos. It's maybe an optimistic spin on maybe the future, but that'll be coming soon as well.
I love it. In order for things to change, they often have to break down. And then how do we move through that with as much grace as possible?
Yeah. And the ability to stay aligned. That's good. What is aligned decision-making and why does it matter to a leader?
Aligned decision-making is a way to approach the things that we have to do every day in our work life and in our personal life, but do it in a way that honors whether or not we want to do it, whether or not we have the resources to do it, and whether or not it's ours to do. And when we make these decisions that come up every day in our life from that place of alignment, we reduce the risk of things like burnout, things like resentment, and things like capacity stretched much too thin.
Those are all good reasons to go into it. So what's the process of aligning or aligned decision-making?
I love to teach my clients a set of 3 deceptively simple questions. And these were taught to me by one of my teachers. The questions are, do I want to do it? And that question is, it's an important question to ask. And this is harder than I thought it would be.
What's hard?
Coming up with something to say in the moment. Okay. I'm gonna start over answering your question.
Do you want me to start with the question?
Yeah.
So, what is the process of aligned decision making?
So I approach this process using three deceptively simple questions that were taught to me by one of my teachers. The first question, is it mine to do? And that question really helps you distinguish between somebody else's work and your work. Especially as a woman, we so often are cultured to take on things that are other people's, and it can lead to resentment and overburdening and a real stress on our internal system and all the systems that we're in the process of managing. So that's the first question. Is it mine to do?
Is that also part of, is it better for somebody else to do?
Absolutely. I think that's an element of it. If it's not yours to do, it doesn't mean that the thing is not a valuable and worthwhile thing to do, but it might just be that the ownership and onus does not fall on your shoulders.
Yeah, I'm thinking for leaders, this could help them with delegation, maybe within the team, but also to another team in maybe some cases. Interesting.
Absolutely. And with all three of these questions, I have a sort of corporate adaptation that I do with them. And the adaptation there is, am I the right person or is this the right team to own this?
Mm. Okay.
So
All right.
right
Sorry.
on.
So your second one?
So the second one is, do I have the resources to do it? And this is really about capacity. It's financial resources, it's time resources, it's the support that you need to get the thing done and get it done well. And you might really want to do something and it might fall into your scope of work that you should do, but you don't have the resources to do it. So that can be a pause point where you say, okay, we don't have the capacity right now. How can we get the capacity? Or who do we need to bring on? What resources do we need to amass in order to do this well and not overtax the system?
Yeah. Does that include trade offs, like not doing something else so you can do this?
There's always an opportunity cost to everything in our life, right? So
Right.
absolutely, everything's a trade-off.
Yeah. That trade off is an interesting one. Yeah. All right.
And then the third question, do I want to do it? And this is a tricky one for leaders, especially because so often they're in a position where they don't really want to be doing the thing they have to be doing, but it's coming from the top down and they have to do it. And yet there's always a way to find some kind of alignment within it. And so one of the questions that I add on to this is, what is my self-referenced motivation for doing this? How can I find that place inside of myself that is a yes on this? And if I can't, then what do I need to do in order to either make it a yes or get it to where it needs to go?
And are you going to talk about how to do that? How to shift into maybe different ways of aligning to a yes? If the boss is demanding something that is boring or, that you're begrudgingly doing it.
So, one way is to zoom out and to find how this task, this scope of work fits into the larger picture. I know for myself, I don't love doing business development. And yet, as a solopreneur, it's an essential part of me being of service to the world. So, how can I find some motivation and some energy to do that task because I know that it's in service to some larger mission that I care about? So, that's one way, for example, that I do the work with this question.
Why does this matter? If your boss says to do it, why don't you just go do it?
Well, have you ever been in a position where you were forced to do something and you didn't want to do it?
Often? Yeah.
What kind of impact did that have on you?
Stress, resentment. I usually don't do it well. Yeah, those are probably the main things. My attitude is shitty in general,
Absolutely.
which can spread, can have an effect, especially if I'm leading a team and we're told to do it. Let's go do this because we have to do it. Everybody's not putting their heart into it, putting
Yeah,
their
it can
best
have
effort.
a ripple effect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are just some of the reasons. And when you're modeling this as a leader, the people that you manage and those in your sphere can reference that too. And as a result, you get people showing up with their full yes, their full capacity, and their work product is much higher as a result of that.
Yeah, I like that full yes or that hell
Mhm.
yes in some circles. Yeah. Nice. Anything to add to those three questions or moving through that?
No, I think the best way to work with the questions is to actually work with them. So if you're game, I would love to take an issue that you're struggling with right now and walk through this together and see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had some personal ones, but maybe a work one. So for those don't know, I have a job focusing on leaders that are in like a new position and wanting to leap forward to get to the next level and really embrace what that whole change process so that when they move forward, it's fantastic. I was with a client the last couple of days and they have a really strong purpose that matters to the planet. And I'm really questioning whether I should really lean into that more and do more of that work. And I'm just not sure. Not sure if it makes sense for me. Not sure if there's money that could sustain me through that. And all the other questions have comes with a shift. So where do I start?
So if you were to distill that into down into one question, what is your question? What is your
Um, should I offer more products that are focused on those businesses that have, I'll just say, an environmental benefit for now?
Okay. So let's start with the first question. Is this yours to do? And when you look at that, should you offer more products that are focused on businesses that have an environmental impact as their mission? Is that work yours to do in the world?
It's not mine exclusively, but it feels like, yeah, it's something I could do. I want to do. I guess I'm not sure how to do it, but I don't know if that is that part of this part of the question, or is that something you figure out later?
That's something you figure out later after you've
Okay.
gotten your yes. Then you
Okay.
get into the, okay, how do we execute on this? But this is more just about whether or not you want to say yes to going down this path.
Yeah, I feel like it could be something mine to do. I don't know. I guess I feel a lot of energy behind it.
Mhm. Where do you feel that?
Um, like in my gut.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually a gut and like just being propelled forward. That is why I'm moving. Like the hands of Mother Earth pushing me forward. Like, yeah, do this.
Mhm. And I know you as somebody who cares a lot about nature and spends a good bit of your time skiing and mountain biking and being outside.
Hmm. Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah, and I've been looking
Okay.
for a way of maybe bringing in nature that's into leadership that's a little more aligned or accessible. I don't know what's the right way to put it. Yeah, this seems like that would help too.
Okay. So moving on to the next question, and just for reference, the way that I often do this is go into the question with some ambiguity and uncertainty, go through each of the questions, and you're not necessarily getting a yes or a no, but you're getting some clarity as you go through and some deeper understanding about it. And then coming back to the question at the end to see where are you now with it? So just a little framing.
Hmm.
So moving on to the second question, do you have the resources to do this?
Yeah, I guess that's that trade off one. I could make the trade off. It's me. I am the resource. It's just deciding to do it in like the how question that we talked about. But I guess the other part that comes up is I can do it. Is there money enough to sustain this? Because part of my business philosophy model, I don't know what's the right way, is I'd like the money to be able to keep the lights on and support my our family. And while I'm doing that, I still have a big chunk, I don't know, 30-ish. There's no number, but a pretty significant amount of just supporting those who may not have access or understand this and allow that to be there. So it's a little higher burden on the ones that are where I can get the money because there's that ratio there.
And how about time resources?
Well, I like to keep busy. So I feel like I have the time and, or again, I can make the time. I think it's how I choose to spend my week in entirety, not just work and life. And maybe I have to mountain bike one less time a week or something. That's maybe a good sacrifice or a good trade-off.
And I'm spending a little more time in this one because there are different levels and layers to this question. And it's the one that people tend to not know how to answer the most. So, one other layer to this question is support resources. Do you have the support that you need around you in order to do this?
I mean, in Notion, yes, but maybe not like I, I would have to do some work to get that support community. But I just thought of three people when you said that. Yeah, I'm sure I can get some people to help me and be like I don't know, like we use the term pod, but like a small group of folks that just help support each other. And so find people who are wanting to do that same thing and either join a community or create a community.
Okay.
And then from that community perspective of like-minded folks trying to do this, but like family and friends would support it. I know that. Yeah. Nature would support me if I go that far. Yeah. I think there's that. Is quality a question in this one? Can I do it with good quality? Because that popped into my head. I don't when you talked about layers.
Well, I could see it being an element when you talk about resources in the sense that do you have the know how? Do you have the intellectual resources that you would need to do this well? And that's not a make or break, it's just a real
Yeah,
assessment.
I don't have the expertise in environmental movement, but I'd be working with people that they're the experts. So I don't need it. And it's maybe fine that I don't because I'm just bringing in a different perspective of understanding it, but not knowing it. And really it's supporting the team to do their best work and get the most out of them. So I don't know, I feel like I can do that. I feel like I did do that over the last 2 days. I just ate that. So yeah, I think I can.
Okay. So let's move on to the third question now. Do you want to do it?
I mean, that was pretty quick yes in my head. And yeah, it feels at least with some part of the business. My only hesitation is I don't know, maybe I just leap in and see if it can give it a big focus or like a sprint on this and see what happens.
You said a quick yes in your head. Is there any other place that you sensed a yes?
But yeah, it came to my head, but yeah, it's from the heart. I think it's just supporting. It's like you said, I spent a lot of time in nature around us and within us, as one of our mentors is always saying. And yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. It's being pulled in that direction as opposed to going, yeah, should I like pushing in that direction? I feel pulled in that direction. Maybe that's why I got this client.
So let's circle back after having gone through each of those questions and go back to the original inquiry. Should I offer more products that are focused on businesses that have an environmental impact as an element of their mission?
Yeah. That's maybe not the right question after going through this, actually. It's just should I turn towards, because I could offer the products, tweak the products in a way that are, or target those who and support those in that space. I'd have to think about that, but that maybe not that's the how piece. But yeah, I do feel much more aligned. the three centers. We did talk about the gut, the heart, and the head here. So it's, yeah, moving that in that direction. So hell yes. All right. You're going to have to be the first committee member to help me with this since you wrote me into it.
Well, hopefully you see that these questions help you tune into what's true inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'd just love to hear high level, what was the impact of going through these questions for you?
Yeah, it was good. I like diving in, like the layers of the second one were good. I guess there's two parts. There's the like immediate response, which was interesting, and then sitting with it and then going deeper and seeing if it was all aligned for aligned decision making. Yeah, that was good. Good going through those. I'm curious if you tried it in a different order. I mean, does order matter?
I think it does matter. I've tried it in a different order for myself. I tend to start with, do I want to do it? But sometimes that question is a good close after you've gone through all of the technicalities and do you have the resources and is it yours to do? It's, do I even want this?
Yeah.
Because it is possible that you could be well suited for it. There could be an argument that it would fall within your scope of work, and yet at the end of the day, you don't want to do it. And ending with that and being able to say, yeah, I thought through some really major components of this, and yet I'm still getting a no inside of me. That can be really powerful.
I could see us starting with, do I want to do it? I don't know. Would be my first response. So I like building up to that one. Yeah. Nice. Have you done this or does this apply to teams? So is this ours to do and can it apply there as well?
It can apply to teams. So the corporate adaptation to these three questions are, am I the right person or is this the right team to own this? Do we have the capacity and the support to execute this well? And then is there motivation or alignment with our priorities and goals? So those are the three work adaptations, and they can apply at the individual leader level or the team level or the business unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or the whole business, like we just went through with me, even though it happens to be all of those, me, myself, and I all wrapped into one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Have you gotten any pushback in using this? And where do people have resistance in doing this?
So I find that I'm surprised by how willing people are to do self-inquiry. I mean, even those who haven't had a lot of experience with personal development and inquiring within the self, there seems to be a thirst for it at all levels and in all industries. So there's very little resistance. I think the one kicker is around that question, do I want to do it? And that's hard for people because a disturbing number of people are doing work that they don't want to do all day long at their jobs. And so that can be a really tricky question for somebody if they're not ready to make a change.
Yeah. If they're not even aware that they can ask that question. Like I'll just put it this way. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 30 years ago when I started, when I started in the corporate world, I don't think I had that. I would have never even thought about that question. So yeah,
Yes.
just knowing that you do have agency to some extent.
And something that a lot of the leaders that I work with are finding too is that Gen Z tends to ask that third question naturally. Do I want to do this, right? And a lot of the leaders that I work with are having a hard time knowing how to work with Gen Z when they're asking a question that they never asked in their career.
Mm.
Their work ethic was completely different, more like what you're saying. You just get in and you do it because that's
Mhm.
your job. And so that's a tension point too, is how to work with this generation that seems to ask this question much earlier and with more ease than the leaders that I work with ever were able to.
Yeah, and that just brought up like it's ingrained in us and maybe even this generation, but just if you look the last couple of generations of work, like the type of work, like manufacturing work, no, you did it. Like you didn't think about what you needed to do or is it mine to do? Yeah, it's coming down the assembly. Oh, I got to put this widget together. Very different than knowledge based. And then who knows, moving forward, maybe even more important. Is this mine to do or is it AI's to do or some version of that?
And that in manufacturing is the exact industry that I'm working in, right? Working with some teams in right now. And it's a real puzzler for them to figure out how to work with this generation that doesn't seem to want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
interesting.
again,
Hmm.
modeling it for themselves, the leader, and then guiding their teams to find what within the work that they're doing matters to them. We are a species that likes to do things for a reason of purpose. There's always some underlying value or motivation that can be tapped. So if it if they're not interested in the actual work, why are they showing up? And how can you tap into that underlying motivation to inspire them to do the work that their job description asks of them?
Hmm. Because
There
they'll
is
be happy.
something there. What was
Yeah,
that?
and it's from the employee perspective, I put it in work terms, employee perspective, that would benefit them, but also from the company perspective, because unmotivated workers are not efficient. They don't produce their best work. It's not even efficiency necessarily, but they're not as creative. They're not as everything in my mind.
Right. And it leads to high attrition, which is a
Yeah.
huge cost to the
It's
company.
waste. It's waste in the system.
It's waste in the system and it's waste in the individual as well.
Hmm.
So, how can you inspire that person to find something that they care about within the work that they're doing? It's such a gift to give to the individual and then a benefit to the company.
Yeah. And for leaders who are maybe hesitant to try this out, either themselves or with a team, or maybe put it differently, don't feel they have time to do this. How much time does this take? We obviously went through ours. I don't even know what it was, 5 minutes.
I think that 5 minutes is a very reasonable estimate. And once you get practiced at it, you can do it in a matter of moments, right? Just a really quick alignment check inside.
Hmm.
At the beginning, I'd say give yourself a little bit more time, a couple minutes per question, and do some reflection and sense into your body and what you're noticing from your gut, from your heart, from your mind. Give yourself a little bit more space while you get used to the method, and then it'll get faster.
Yeah. And you're about the practice. And for those who maybe not familiar, or at least with probably Liz and my very similar definition of practice, which is something you try and you continue to develop and you continue to work and maybe even tweak that what works for you, but you're consistent in doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's not even a one time thing, but it's a get started and see if this works and understand the intention is to getting to a hell yes or an aligned decision, whichever way you want to put it. Yeah.
Your version of yes
Yes. Whatever your version of yes is. All right.
or no.
Yeah. Well, thanks for covering that. Before we close, I just have one question, which is maybe a challenge, but what is one word that describes your leadership mindset right now?
Mm, Thanks for the question. And I think the one word I would choose, which actually is a nature reference, is rooted. I'm finding that I can lead a lot more powerfully when I'm grounded in my own values and my own purpose. And it's not necessarily about doing more, but being more present, more discerning, and more connected to what really matters to me. And when I'm rooted, all of that flows effortlessly.
Mhm. That's wonderful. Rooted leadership.
Hmm.
Yes. Well, thank you, Liz, for coming on. And if somebody wants to work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Thanks for the question. I'm a leadership and development, personal development coach and facilitator. I work one-on-one with clients, and I would love to work with anybody who's listening to this and thinks that they might benefit from this or more. And my website is lizsmith.coach. And
Great.
other
I'll add
than
that
that,
link.
but aside from that, I do team engagement and facilitation inside of organizations.
Hmm. And is it only aligned decision making?
I work very broadly in what it is to show up and be a leader in general. And it's not just aligned decision making. That's just one of the things I love to teach.
All right. Well, thank you, Liz, for joining today, and I'll see you around.
Thank you so much, Peter. This has been great.
Thanks for listening to Roar Mindset, Leading Through Chaos. Disruption isn't going away, but you can embrace it and turn it into an advantage. Until next time, stop fighting disruption, lead with clarity, and thrive in uncertain times.